All right, so the day has finally come. We're branching out. Today we're doing our first non Michael Myers video. Today we're going to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter, which, in my opinion, is the definitive Jason movie. Here on the table we have a Devil's Latex Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Jason head, and we're going to talk about the movie and we're going to talk about this head bust and the portrayal of Jason Voorhees by Ted White. Friday the 13th Part 4 begins immediately where Part 3 left off after the conclusion of the massacre at Higgins Haven. Friday the 13th Part 4 is the third and final stage of what many people call the 1984 Camp Crystal Lake Massacre. Jason is assumed dead from an axe wound to the skull at the conclusion of the previous movie and taken to a nearby hospital, making good his escape from the morgue in what I feel and what many people feel is Jason's signature kill in the series, the Axel Kill. Jason takes a hacksaw and saws about a third of the way through this man's neck, breaks his neck, and spins his head around 180 degrees, brutally killing him. In the 1980s, the MPAA was known for watering down kills and gore in horror movies, and the Friday the 13th franchise was one of their favorite targets. The Part 2 and Part 7 installments were probably the most affected. Somehow, by the grace of God, the MPAA left this movie alone, and we got one of the greatest and bloodiest slashers of the 80s. The original effects artist from the 1980 original was brought back in to do the gore and special effects for this movie. Tom Savini is widely known as the master of horror effects, and he earns that title in this movie. This movie is loaded back to front with many of the greatest kills in the series. Cast to play Jason in this movie was John Wayne's longtime stunt double, Ted White. Ted White is many people's favorite incarnation of Jason. Is he my favorite Jason? Well, that's a topic for another video, but what I can tell you is that he plays him brilliantly in my favorite Jason movie. Ted White is not only an awesome Jason, he is an all-around awesome human being. This man is in his 90s now, still kicking, still going strong. Up until the COVID stuff happened, at least, he was going to conventions. This guy's well into his 90s. He's still active in the fan community, and he absolutely crushes it as Jason in this movie. Moving into the cast, this movie has one of the strongest casts you will ever see in a slasher movie. Everyone is interesting, everyone serves a purpose in the story. Many slashers are littered with people there just to be murdered. This is not the case in this movie. This is a great, likable cast. You have Dead Fuck Jimbo, an old teddy bear. You want to give the teddy bear a kiss? You have Douchebag Paul and his girlfriend Sam and their relationship dynamic. You have the twins and that whole storyline with Paul's wandering eye and that dynamic. You have the more shy and introverted couple, Doug and Sarah, and them just beginning their relationship and that dynamic. In a genre loaded with movies with weak casts, this movie is anything but, and it stands out because of that. You have Robert Dyer, the vengeful brother of the girl murdered in Part 2, the one impaled with a spear while she was having sex with her boyfriend. And then we meet the Jarvises, and most importantly, Tommy Jarvis. The Tommy Jarvis character is as close as you get in this franchise to a Dr. Loomis or a Laurie Strode type character, an arch nemesis of Jason extending multiple movies. A character whose hobbies include making masks and movie props. I've often wondered if the character is in some way inspired by Tom Savini himself. In the climax of this film, Tommy Jarvis tricks Jason much in the same way Ginny did at the end of Part 2, only instead of using the sweater and pretending to be Pamela Voorhees, Tommy Jarvis shaves his head and pretends to be Jason himself. While Tommy's sister Trish distracts Jason, Tommy grabs Jason's own machete and hits him in the skull with it, driving it through his eye and killing him. Friday the 13th Part 4 is, in my opinion, by far the best Friday the 13th movie. And also, in my opinion, one of the greatest slashers ever made. And this coming from a Halloween guy, I think that this movie is just as good as any Halloween film. So there you have it. This has been my review of Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and a close up of my Devil's Latex Friday the 13th Part 4 bust. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.